Hello, hi, and welcome to TNIE Presents Hyderabad Dialogues. Today we are here with a very versatile actor, Priyadarshi. Hello, Darshi.
Hi, Shreya.
So, how are you?
Been better. I mean, I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, firstly, I would want to understand about the new movie that it's going to release on 14th of March, The Court.
Yeah, court is basically, it's, I mean, by the name it goes, it's a courtroom drama. Primarily, we are talking about a boy and a girl who end up in this brawl, basically, where it requires some lawyers and judges to, deal with it. I mean, most importantly, we're also, through this film, we're also talking about the poxo case, which is, I mean, most of us know by now. So how a boy is wrongfully accused in this whole poxo case, and how Suryateja goes and does his job as a lawyer to get him from the wrongful accusation.
Okay, so I mean, Nani is the producer of
Of
this
course,
film.
of course.
So, how was it working with Nani? Also, I bet you did a couple of films also with him.
Yeah, Nani. The best part of Nani is like it's like how do I say this? It's easy to work with. I mean, it's hard to convince this man. It's like getting a right story and trying to convince your chief editor. How to get a good byline or how do you get a story on paper. It's as simple as that, if I can put it. It's just that um, um, he has a thorough understanding of cinema. He has a thorough understanding of how scripts work, and he also has a uh, he also tries to work with these filmmakers who come with an original voice, who always have something to say when we're talking about cinema. Because this is also an era where we find a lot of filmmakers, but we don't find them. We don't know, basically a lot of filmmakers don't know what to actually say through their art, so that is also a problem, or people are basically grappling with that. So he's also one of that persons who's very concerned about what is a particular artist or a filmmaker is trying to writer basically trying to put forward through his creation. So when me and Jagdish pitched this idea to Nani, he was very excited. Before 1 year ago, while we were doing Hainana, the film which we're doing together, we were also discussing a lot about how we lack stories like these, like how it is always something like a J Beam from Chennai can or J Beam from Tamil Nadu can make it to the headlines. Also as a, not just the headlines, but also how it kind of stirs a discussion within the communities across the cutting across the age barriers. So we also wanted to bring in something like, I mean, we were having similar ideas together, and luckily I was also kind of mm, uh, uh, slowly mentoring. I can't say mentoring, but I was also in touch with Jagdish, who was going. I mean, who had this idea about this Poxo case, and then how, and his inspirations from some stories that he has read from newspapers and TV news channels, and also one of his friends, I think, had a similar experience of sorts. So he wanted to bring this story to life. So yeah, a lot of things like aligned, like the stars have aligned, kind of a thing. It happened with us, and yeah, I'm here with you guys.
Usually, if I interject,
No, it's okay.
usually, I mean, in this kind of POXO cases, and from our news perspective, I'm telling what the subject that you have chosen is a little bit contrarian, maybe. అంటే
Sorry,
యూజువల్లీ
sorry.
అంటే సబ్జెక్ట్లో ఎట్లా ఉంటుందంటే యూజువల్లీ ద విక్టిమ్ ఈజ్ అ ఉమెన్ ఆర్ ఎ చైల్డ్
Right.
సో స్టోరీ గోస్ లైక్ గెటింగ్ జస్టిస్ ఫర్ ద విక్టిమ్ హియర్ ఐ మీన్ అట్లా ఉంటుంది బట్ యూ చూస్ ఎ కాంట్రేరియన్ అప్రోచ్ వేర్ ద పర్సన్
Contrarian approach. Sorry, నాకు అబద్ధం అర్థం కాదు.
కాంట్రేరియన్ అప్రోచ్ వేర్ ద
So why also, because అంటే the idea is that when you talk about POXO as an act, it basically works for protecting the rights of the children, but there are also a lot of people who basically misuse it purely because that section allows them not to get a bail of sorts. I mean, same goes with a lot of Nirbhaya. Nirbhaya Act. A lot of people, use that very wrongfully. I mean, from what I have understood from when I'm speaking to a lot of friends in the lawyer community, uh, uh, the misuse of 498A as a it's a gross misuse of the entire act. And also there are many other laws which basically even uh, so when we were talking about this, we were also wanting to know that through this film, an audience would definitely understand the fact that poxo as an act is there for criminals, um, and also criminals who have basically indulged in violating children's privacy, or children, basically includes sexual assault against children. That is one part of the whole story. And also there's another part of the story where how the characters, like especially people like Mangupati, through whom we want to put out that idea, is completely misusing that in cases like this. And I would want to tell a lot of details, but I'm holding myself back because a lot of story, the details of the story would involve, I would request you to please watch the film. Maybe it'll be more self-explanatory rather than I'm sitting and trying to explain the entire screenplay of the film. But I'd urge you to do that, and maybe I can again talk to one of your people to explain it better for sure. But yeah, it's definitely a contrarian perspective in terms of looking at it. But how people are wrongfully accused is also a point that we wanted to bring through this film.
So the movie name is The Court, State versus a Nobody.
Nobody.
Why a Nobody? Judiciary is helping.
It's purely dramatic as an effect. There's nothing like we would rather wanted to use a name, but the idea, by creating something like a nobody, calling it a nobody, is because how some sort of privilege speaks around people like them, people with a lot more power in their hands and money in their hands. They think, again, they are under assumption that they can bend the laws and work their way around up. So we wanted to make sure, this is again, kind of to bring in the curiosity of the whole idea. By the time you're watching, I'll reveal the details. By the time you're watching the film, you'll know it's Chandrasekhar or Chandu. But we wanted to just to give a, on a larger level, how the law basically definitely works towards the social equality and all of that, but how not everybody gets the, like how is it Mark Twain who says like some everybody is equal but somebody is more equal or something like that. So,
basically you're more known for your comedic character. How difficult it is for you to get a full length serious role?
Sir, comedy or creating humor on screen is way more difficult than doing this. It is absolutely something, because what makes somebody laugh is such a very slippery concept for me, because I don't understand what because these are the days I'm even laughing at the news channels that are going around, and I'm hardly laughing at when comedians are coming and trying to crack jokes. So what constitutes humor is such a very it's something I really don't understand. So I clearly rely on these writers who have written something like Save the Tigers or Pelli Chupulu or Jatiratnalu, who are these also people who are trying to create some sort of satire to the things that are happening in and around us. So even I'm trying to understand that. I'm yet to figure out. I'm learning as we speak.
But you are a natural. It looks very natural.
Half of it comes from the language that I speak, because Telangana.
Body language.
Yeah, that's the actor part of it. I would rather call as an actor with a better timing rather than a comedian myself.
You talked about the Telangana
Mandalikam, అవును సార్.
Telangana Mandalikam మాట్లాడితే చాలా రోల్స్ చేశారు మీరు.
అవును సార్.
And you are very very good at it.
Yeah.
But there's no like a full, like what you call full length role. Rather it is part of one character in the whole thing. Do you think we can have something like depending on the
అంటే
story
తెలంగాణ
yeah.
మాండలికం మాట్లాడుతున్న పూర్తి పాత్ర
పూర్తి,
కామెడీలో ఎలా
ఉండేటట్టు. Not only comedy, the whole story about the
ఉన్నాయి కదా సార్. అంటే ఇప్పుడు బలగం
ఇప్పుడు బలగం వచ్చింది. That is a
మల్లేశం
rare thing.
male I would have rather have a teacher all by himself who's there to correct me at any given point in time and then tell me, no, this is not how we speak, this is how we speak. So yeah, and this place is a beautiful place, sir, where అంటే ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే తెలంగాణలో కూడా every 60 to 70 kilometers everything is changing. Like the people where they're talking is extremely like this stark difference in how people are talking, and the idioms in the language are even more beautiful of how we are talking about it. So I'm amazed by the fact how we bring in this language as a tool to put out the communication, especially through language. So for me as an artist to look all of this, maybe I should turn like an extended journalist sometimes and sit with these people to listen all the time and then write, and then so that is the effort I'm trying to put right now, because I'm curious about how all of this is functioning. I should put more effort actually.
So Chupulu వచ్చినప్పుడు సేమ్ డైలాగ్ మా చావు నేను చస్తా. That was very delivered with that confidence. You don't even look at him.
Yeah. మీ ఎడిటర్కి ఎప్పుడైనా అంటారు అట్లా మీరు? I think it was completely, first of all, it was written, sir. It is also this years of angst that has been piling up in Tarun Bhaskar, and also the whole a society that doesn't allow artists, or just how as a society we don't invest much in humanities. It is that angst which comes directly from there. The roots are there, where how like people like the suspected tax evasion people basically have ruined everything else apart. They wanted to only keep that engineering and all of that other major branches, and how we have constantly neglected the languages or humanities in general, and how we don't value our own artists, or we don't have much scholarship for people who want to pursue art in our country. And adi oka part aithe. And also there is how the whole what next after engineering, what are we supposed to do after that, so akkada basically we are all homogenized, like those, and then all have to come out of some engineering college to figure out life. Okay, what should we do right now? So that is a kind of thought that this man had, and he's vexed with it, all of it. And then suddenly all this set of people who talk about ఏం చేస్తున్నారు. సో అట్లా వచ్చిన దాంట్లో అప్పుడు ఇట్లా అంటే ఇట్లా చెప్పలేదు, వేరేలాగా చెప్పిన అనమాట. Always tough to convince them. Sir.
Your father was a PhD.
Yes, sir.
And you grew up in I believe that you grew up in a very good academically strict family.
Of course, I did.
అట్లాంటప్పుడు you joined the Central University in Mass Communication. So మీరు చెప్పారు ఒక ఇంటర్వ్యూలో that you wanted to go to Pune Film Institute, but that your parents did not agree to it, and you also because of some financial constraints.
Financial, sorry to cut you, please చెప్పండి.
సో మీరు సెంట్రల్ యూనివర్సిటీకి వచ్చినప్పుడు వాట్ వాజ్ యువర్ ఐడియా? అంటే నేను ఏం చేయాలి? మీరు చెప్పారు ఒక ఇంటర్వ్యూలో చూసిన ఎగబడి తెగ ఎక్కువ పని చేసిన, ఎందుకంటే విపరీతంగా చదివినా, ఎందుకంటే పూణే అంటే కసితో ఎక్కువ చేసిన. బట్ వాట్ వాజ్ యువర్ ఆబ్జెక్టివ్? ఏం చేయదలుచుకున్నారు? బట్ సినిమా వాజ్ దేర్ ఎట్ ద టైమ్ ఎట్ ద బ్యాక్ ఆఫ్ యువర్ మైండ్ దట్ ఐ షుడ్ గెట్ ఇంటు ఇట్.
Yes, definitely. And the part was also the thing is, convincing an orthodox middle class family that I wanted to get in films is like, it's like waging a war in itself, And also it's such an adventure because it's purely an adventure,
And it's also uncertain.
Very uncertain. Yeah, because they are these people who are, because also my father who struggled very much wanting to be a poet and wanting to do something in playwright and drama, and he knew how difficult this place is. And also when initially back when he was studying in Usmania, he used to see all his friends in theater who you have to end up as another academician in theater would get a better salary over any other theater artist. So he's seen all his life, so he knows how tough this is going to be. So he was very much against it, and also the popular narrative that the film as an industry is controlled by 4 to 5 families, and how only few particular caste people only see a certain some are visible all the time. So all of these popular narratives are there, and also popular beliefs are there among the people, at least 15 to 20 years back. But thanks to the decentralizing of whole media and how the whole digital film, taking up. So even I was inspired by that. I was wanting to do something in FTI, but financial thing was once, and also his his belief that how this whole place is very uncertain, and I don't think he will make life for himself. So that's the second part of it. And the only fascinating factor for me to enter into the university are these PD 160 cameras that they have put it on brochure. I was like, oh my god, they have very big cameras, so I would rather go there and learn some sort of filmmaking. I thought cameras are there, so I would definitely learn something out of it. But little did I know that I was entering into much, not just into the world of cinema, but also much beyond that, because communication studies per se also has borrows a lot from anthropology, political science, sociology, diaspora. And all of these, multidisciplinary things do walk into the idea of communication studies. So that kind of helped me understand the world better around me, and also that gave me, because all of this was and also how communication wants to be this voice of the voiceless. How do you want to? So what happened? This some sort of cross pollination that was happening while I was learning for 5Ws and 1H, in the newsroom. So that kind of translated into my characters, like why, what, where, whom, and then like how. So all of this, like, so I was there, they were teaching me journalism only, but I was like, we character with background story AMI untadi. So I am doing my own math in my head. So this was happening there. But again, maybe I wouldn't have been a better actor if I had studied theater in University of Hyderabad, or rather went and did cinematography in FTI, because I want to convince my father, saying that cinematographers are paid very much. So let me go learn cinematography there. So I'll come back, I'll be a cameraman, so I can learn more. So because I used to show these articles from what Mr. Sendil Kumar, who's from Hyderabad, who went and studied in FTI, who was doing Bahubali then. I was like, see, Bahubali cameraman, this fellow is. He's from Chikkadpalli only. Like. So imagine if somebody can go from Chikkadpalli, another can go from Chandanagar. So I was trying to convince him like that, but he didn't buy that narrative. Yeah, I was not much of an influencer then. So atla I've navigated and I found myself. It was more like a act of self-discovery for me, the University of Hyderabad. And it was a free place, I experienced what freedom looked like, and and also I understood finding a purpose,
On that intellectual.
yeah ante adoka pedda, it's like that whole puberty hit me there. Like, it's like, what is this? Like, it's like that, but I mean, in a better way. I'm just saying. Okay, there are films which I'm not proud of doing that, but even they have started. I mean, they also kind of teach you something or the other. So this whole the whole journey of learning and also unlearning is very, very much intact. I mean, constantly there for me, because now I'll go see quote in the movies. I'll also learn from a lot of people what they went through while watching that film. I mean, what were their experiences watching a film like Quote? So now there is so much feedback that I have to take again and see how it's going to shape me in further sense. But yeah, అంటే నేను రాహుల్ అంత రెబల్ కాదు, నేను వాడంత రెబల్ కాదు.
మూవీస్ లోకి వెళ్ళాలి.
I was thinking maybe 7 or 8.
I see this mostly in Andhra.
Yeah.
But తెలంగాణలో when you want to go,
అంటే మా అమ్మ ఆంధ్ర అనమాట, సో కొంచెం అది అక్కడ వచ్చింది. ఇక మా నాన్న తెలంగాణ అనమాట. ఇక మావాడు విప్లవము, తర్వాత చదువు అన్నట్టు పోయింది, పరిశోధన. ఇక మా అమ్మ ఇట్లా ఆంధ్ర కదా. సో
Edited films.
Yeah, I think ఏమో అది ఎందుకు ఎక్కిందో నాకు తెలియదు, బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ దేర్, ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్వేస్ బీన్ దేర్. I was a very curious child, as curious that I used to like want to understand how this whole thing works, like how cinema works, like what is happening behind the TV. Like there were many times in the day I used to go basically unscrew the old Philips TV and see what is inside, like, you know. So wondering if there's some drama is going in that little box, Indian box. So ఇవంతా ఉండింది, బట్ అట్లా స్లోలీ యూనో విత్ టైమ్ ఐ అండర్స్టూడ్, విత్ టైమ్ ఐ కుడ్ ఫిగర్ అవుట్ థింగ్స్, విత్ టైమ్ ఇవన్నీ ఇట్లా ఐఎమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు డిస్కవర్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ లిటిల్ ఎక్స్ప్లోరింగ్ ఇన్ తెలంగాణ హైకోర్ట్. ఐ గాట్ దిస్ book, I think, which is on the poster, I guess. It's about the commentary on Poxo Act, which is again, it was published in 2020, but the case was very much we situated in 2013, right after the act was passed in 2012. Um, so in 2020, a lot has changed. A lot of amendments are being made to the act, and also now POXO cases are dealt in a different court entirely, which is right next to the radio building in public gardens. అది అసెంబ్లీ ముందు ఉంటుంది అది. I went and I sat through those couple of sessions in POXO courts. It was gut wrenching. It was very bad. It was very bad day for me. So for me to sit down and understand, so I basically do is all this like an extended journalist. I will sit, gather all the information, I read, I talk to people, and I try to sit through my time. Somewhere between browsing Instagram, I will think about this fellow Suryateja. I'll imagine how this guy might look like talk like, or feel like, and where is this guy coming from. So what kind of language is speaking. So these kind of details, I do a little work about them, and I actually depend heavily on my writer directors, because they have my job essentially is to interpret their vision and work as a catalyst to move the story forward. So itla ivanni I take these things and then practice again. You do the dialogue, you basically rehearse with your fellow actors and see if you're getting it the way the director wants it. So it's depending upon the subject you choose, it might sometimes can be a 10-day work or like a 1-month work, which can result, if the story is good, it might result in a nice film, or if the story is not up to the mark or something is messes up, it becomes darling. So but the effort is same.
So would you say this is your most challenging role so far, or
Not
is
yet.
there another?
Waiting maybe for it. Challenging in terms of the biggest challenge for me is I've seen a lot of my lawyer friends used to see a lot of films which are basically courtroom dramas and everything. They call me like, how the can somebody talk like this in court? Kaun bolta hai aisa? How can somebody do this? How is it even valid? All of this, the very deep angst is there. So, and most importantly, the thing is, when you're talking about these sections and laws, we have to make sure we are doing it right. For example, recently when the whole the case which was happening on Mr. Allu Arjun, the accident that has happened, which was very unfortunate. I saw how Mr. Niranjan Reddy was arguing for Mr. Allu Arjun for his case, and he uses this word called lordships. What is lordships? So I call him so this is a little archaic word, but I don't think you have to use this. You can just say my lord, or you can just say your honor. That is enough. You don't have to call lordships. So this kind of details we will try to call him and ask, and all of this. So, and also how a lot of times what happens is the key principal actors in the court become very aggressive. They overfeel about it. They kind of become quite aggressive, while putting their arguments forward. But the last time you see somebody doing it right to the jaw was Mr. Bachchan in Pink. But which my friends call it as a much actual portrayal of how lawyers basically put out their arguments in the court. And again, judge is the supreme guy. Like, you can't like, sir, okay, no, that will be contempt. You can be like disbarred. So all of that have been taken under due notice, and then the typical due diligence. Challenging was only that to play the right lawyer on the screen. That was very important, and also because I remember that first day. What happens is uh, audience also want you to have they have certain imagery about when they wanted to see how the way we celebrate our heroes, in always is in slow motion, you know and also with a lot of particles coming outside. But there are also heroic moments here in any court. Of course there are heroic moments, like, I mean, I know, I see how people are talking about Darshan Narasimha, who's been fighting for the justice for in Amrita Pranay case. So now suddenly how people are talking about the whole Darshan Vijay. So now there's a heroic moment. How do you want to see in cinema? We always want it in slow motion. Of course, we sucked it for. I mean, we sucker for it, but we did it anyway. But I don't want to do it overboard. I don't want to go it. I mean, not just me, but the director, and also the producer. They didn't want to just make it extremely cinematic. We wanted to keep it as real as it can get. So the challenge was rightly that, actually.
So you went to the court and to experience how the court proceedings goes on and all. So have you ever experienced the same kind of accuser is the victim as like the cinema, as the court drama which is going to release, right? So have you ever experienced the same kind of situation in the court, like the accuser is the victim?
Have you ever seen?
Seen, huh?
Not experienced.
I'm accused of not being funny, that's for sure. I remember in poxo court, I think she was a 4-year girl. So now in the current day poxo courts, there are these little children play areas. Children are brought into the children play areas and they play, and then the concerned lawyers or the judges try to ask them questions while they are playing an area. And there's an entire different section where the accused is kept. So I sat through a couple of sessions where the lawyer who was prosecuting the accused was kind of reading the whole charge sheet. And after that, I went and saw that little girl who was playing, who was with the parents. The parents were completely devastated with what was happening. And the little girl, I don't think she's understanding anything that's going around. All she's seeing is this balls and, play area and all of that. And I could see closely the eyes of an accused. And I was just wondering, how can somebody do this? I was just wondering what was going in his mind while I was doing this. I was later sitting and trying to understand, or maybe remotely trying to understand what that little girl would have felt. And so I spent days thinking about. I used to read these old cases from the commentary book, which are also, and also I was reading the Aisha Mira thing back then, where of course there are huge charge sheets and all. I didn't get the complete details of it, but I was trying to gather information around that. And I always I'm allowed to only feel certain amount of it, because there's and there's a little dichotomy there, bro. Suryateja doesn't have to feel all of it. Priyadarshi can feel, but Suryateja can't feel that. So Suryateja is driven by the fact that he has to serve the justice. He's the guardian of the constitution. He's the protector of the penal code or whatever that is. But I, as Priyadarshi, can do a lot of stuff. But I think if I'm playing the defense lawyer, then I'm playing. My perspective is different. But if I'm playing the prosecutor, my approach is completely different. So, but most importantly, if my job is to defend the truth, then be it. Yeah.
So you just said courtroom dramas are emotionally draining, right? Many actors feel that as well. So did this role, take a toll on you personally?
Yeah, I mean, see, the whole research phase was like that. But see, let's say you get a beat and you want to go cover a story. Now you want to report, but also a part of you feels very badly about. Let's say there is some accident or some murder or whatever has happened, and some or simply as what Amrita Pranay has happened. Let's say you are supposed to go and report that. Your job is to purely report, but of course that kind of, even when you're trying to dig all the details about it, and the caste as an issue there and all of that, a part of you also is sympathetic about the person, uh, uh, but you can't bring that while you're typing your story. Okay, you have to only bring in the details. My job is also that, when I'm in the set, I have to be that character. It is draining, definitely, um, because you're partly a part of. There's a little fear that if I'll do, if I will I not? I'm a little insecure, when I'm playing the character. Will I be doing it right or not? You're extremely nervous. Some days your IBS would kick in and it would be like very bad for you. But yeah, you swim through somehow, like you pull it off, good or bad. But yeah, it is draining. But therapy helps.
Right. Coming back to the dialect and language part,
Yeah.
you have also played a role in 35,
Hmm.
right? A full and serious role. And that movie featured Tirupati dialect, right? I think no one has
Chittoor.
before done that. Might have,
Pushpa? Pushpa,
but this is
Rayalaseema. Okay, sorry to cut you, please. Yeah.
so also in one of the events that I attended, director also told that he has done a full length research on that dialect particularly and presented a paper.
Hmm.
So how did you get through that role?
So the production, we hired a teacher called Prashant, who is from that area, who speaks that language very much, and most importantly, he understands the language better in terms of the nuances in the language, and the syntax around it. So I took some 7 to 8 classes on how do I basically get the words right and how do I speak the whole language. And uh, my text was, the dialogues completely were there. And I used to sit with Mr. Prashant, and basically he teaches me like, how do you pronounce these words? And also there's a little breath work you have to do when you're doing these
Exactly,
dialogues.
since you are
Yeah.
from Telangana and the dialect is very deep, right? If I'm
యా
not
అంటే
wrong.
ఆల్సో తెలంగాణ ఏంటంటే కృతకంగా మాట్లాడతాం మనం. ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే ఇప్పుడు గోదావరి చేస్తున్నాం అనుకో, వర్డ్స్ ని సాగదీయాలి మనం. ఏట్రా మన దగ్గర ఏంది అంటే అయిపోతుంది. హౌ ద ప్లేస్ ఆల్సో ఇస్ లైక్ షేప్స్ ద హోల్ థింగ్ అనేది ఒకటి ఉంటుంది. సో అది తిరుపతిలో ఇప్పుడు ప్రతిదానికి ఆయన ఉంటే పెద్ద ఆయన చూసుకుంటాడు లేరు. పెద్ద ఆయన అంటే ఇట్స్ లైక్ కొండ మీద దేవుడు. సో ఇవన్నీ ఏంటంటే I sat with this man and he was giving me all of this knowledge, and I will take only as much as the character needs, and I also sit and rehearse the lines with him. So that I used to do with them. And that helped. That whole coaching helped me a lot. And he was also, a lot of the times he was there on set, helping us to get the dialect right, because we were doing sync sound. So there's no dubbing for the film. So everything was happening on the set itself.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't dub for the film.
And now you have made films like Malaysian and what do you call Balagam, now Court, with social values and experimental basis of films. So how do you exactly select these films? Or, like,
అవి వస్తే వింటా, బాగుంటే చేస్తా, అంతే. ఇట్స్ సింపుల్. దేర్ నథింగ్ లైక్ there's nothing, no strategy, bro. There's no strategy about that I will only do these kind of films. I am basically also, I'm inspired by how my peers in the other industries, like especially in Tamil, Malayalam, Marathi, they are doing films like this, and also they're celebrating and celebrating these kind of films, and also trying to tell stories, varied stories. So like అంటే ఇప్పుడు if I look at it on a timeline, I did Mallesham because I was amazed by Chintakindi Mallesham. I was like, this fellow is a superhero and I want to celebrate this man. How do I do it? All I can do is by doing a film on him. So atla Mallesham happened. 4 years after Mallesham, Balagam happened because Venu Eldandi has a story from his town. Okay. And I did Mail because the director Uday comes from Kambalapalli. So అందుకనే Kambalapalli కథలు and his inspirations from the early computers in his town. So that man had a story to say. అట్లా చేసిన అంటే నేను అంటే ఇవన్నీ ఏంటంటే లక్కీలీ ఉదయ్ ఏమైందంటే ఉదయ్ అండ్ మీ వర్ డూయింగ్ షార్ట్ ఫిల్మ్స్ బ్యాక్ ఇన్ 2012-13. So after he became a full-fledged cameraman and he wants to become a story, he approached me like those back ఇట్లా కాలేజ్లో అందరం ఇట్లుంటాం కదా, సో అట్లా he approached. When it came to thank you. Yeah, sorry, I'm an addict for coffee. When it comes to Balagam ఏమైందంటే Balagam ఇందాక అన్నట్టు the story happened. The story was ఆయన చెప్పిండు, and then because like ఇందాక చెప్పినట్టు Venu has a story. See, now Balagam happened because Mallesham also happened. Mallesham వల్లనే నాకు Balagam వచ్చింది. Because they felt that I can pull off that character, and we're also there that the bigger camera is now going into the hinterlands of Telangana, and a lot of Telangana writers are coming up, and I would definitely attribute this change in because of the state bifurcation, and how the new political party has a political commitment to uplift the culture, language and everything. అన్ని ఎట్లా మనకి అదే యా అంటే నాకేంటంటే నాకు ఈ ఐడెంటిటీస్ని తీసుకురావడం అంటే నేను చిన్నప్పుడు మా ఫాదర్కి రీసెర్చ్ అసిస్టెంట్ లాగా పోతున్నాను అనమాట. సో ఆయన ఏంటంటే మా నాన్న ఇట్లా ఈ అన్ని హీ యూస్ టు డాక్యుమెంట్ ఆల్ దీస్ చిందు యక్షగానం ఇవన్నీ. And I used to feel like, what is there in this nonsense? You should do films with these cameras, And it took me 20 years from there to understand the value of all of that, So, so I understood now if I have to go global, then I have to go local. I have to go win an award in Sweden and I have to do Balagam.
మీరు చెప్పిన దాన్ని బట్టి ఒకటి ఇప్పుడు ఫ్రమ్ మై ఓన్ పర్సనల్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్, somebody who is very close to me, తెలంగాణ ఇది వరకు తెలంగాణలో మాట్లాడితే నవ్వేవాడు. ఐ సా ఇట్ మై సెల్ఫ్. ఇప్పుడు బైఫర్కేషన్ అయిన తర్వాత తెలంగాణ ఈవెన్ మూవీస్లో కూడా చూసుకుంటే విలన్స్ మాట్లాడేవారు. బట్ తెలంగాణ బైఫర్కేషన్ అయిన తర్వాత హీరోస్ మాట్లాడడం మొదలెట్టారు, అండ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ హ్యాస్ బికమ్ మెయిన్ స్ట్రీమ్. దీంతో పాటు అయితే నాకు ఎక్కడ ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ అనిపించిందంటే ఈ 2012-14 ఈ ప్రాంతాల్లో అనుకుంటాం. మరి ఐ మీన్ 2014 తర్వాత మోస్ట్లీ మెయిన్ స్ట్రీమ్ మూవీస్ అప్పుడు కూడా స్టార్స్ వాళ్ళు సేమ్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ స్టోరీస్ అవే వచ్చేవి. అండ్ ఐ గోయింగ్ బ్యాక్ టు మై ఓన్ చైల్డ్హుడ్, 90s కానీ 2000s కానీ సేమ్ మోర్ ఆర్ లెస్ మూవీస్, కొద్దిగా అటు ఇటు. బట్ 2014 తర్వాత ఐ సీ ఎ న్యూ క్రాప్ ఆఫ్ పీపుల్ కమింగ్ ఇన్, మోస్ట్లీ ఫ్రమ్ తెలంగాణ, అండ్ with stories that are very realistic to life and very realistic in nature, and they are clicking.
Yeah.
And you are part of that, what would I call, a revolution maybe in the movie, in the paradigm shift, if not a revolution, paradigm shift.
Word, yeah.
ana ఇది how ఎట్లా జరిగింది, ఇది how has it been possible? ఇప్పుడు మీరు బలగం అన్నారు, ఇది వరకు టైంలోకి మనం ఇఫ్ ట్రావెల్ బ్యాక్ ఇన్ టైం, ఇది మనకి కమర్షియల్లీ వైబుల్ కాదు అని చేసేవాళ్ళు కాదు. బట్ ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేంజ్ అయింది
అంటే మీలాంటి వాళ్ళు వచ్చిన తర్వాత వాట్ చేంజ్?
అంటే ఒకటి ఏంటంటే సార్, ఇప్పుడు సంబడి లైక్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ అప్పుడు ఏంటంటే ఒక కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ప్రెషర్లో ఉండే సార్ కొంతమంది. అంటే లైక్ the whole 2013-14 suddenly the whole see there's ఇప్పుడు ఏంటంటే పాలిటిక్స్ కూడా డెఫినెట్లీ అప్పుడు తెలంగాణ మూమెంట్ ఎంత హై ఉండిందంటే మనకు తెలుసు. ఇక్కడ మనకి తెలంగాణ మూమెంట్ ఎంత హై ఉండిందంటే దట్ దేర్ ఇస్ అ సడన్ ఎంబ్రేసింగ్ ఆఫ్ ద లాంగ్వేజ్ ఇంటూ మీరు ఇందాక అన్నట్టు. తెలంగాణ ఇక మొత్తం పూర్తిగా తెలంగాణ వచ్చిన తర్వాత ద వాయిసెస్ హ్యావ్ ఆల్సో బికమ్ స్ట్రాంగర్. అండ్ ఆల్సో ఇప్పుడు ఏంటంటే ఎవ్రీబడి స్టార్ట్ గెటింగ్ అ బెటర్ ప్లాట్ఫామ్ అనుకున్నాం కాసేపు. అంటే అండ్ ఆల్సో ప్యారలల్ ఏంటంటే ద హోల్ టెక్నాలజీ ఎవల్యూషన్ ఆఫ్ ద టెక్నాలజీ. అంటే నేను ఒక 4-5 ఫ్యాక్టర్స్ అనుకోవచ్చు. అంటే తెలంగాణ బైఫర్కేషన్ అయింది. ఆల్సో 2012 నుంచి ఒక డిజిటల్ ఫిలిం రెవల్యూషన్ స్టార్ట్ అయింది సార్. ఓకే, అంటే నేను ఏమంటున్నా అంటే 2012-13 ఆ ప్రాంతంలో మనకి 5D కెమెరాస్ తోటి సినిమాలు తీయడం మొదలుపెట్టారు. అంటే ఏంటంటే యావరేజ్గా లెట్స్ సే ఇఫ్ ఐ హ్యావ్ టు హైర్ అ ఫిలిం కెమెరా అండ్ విత్ రెస్పెక్టివ్ లెన్సెస్ అండ్ ద పీపుల్ హూ కమ్ విత్ ఇట్, I would have to spend at least 40,000 to 50,000 per day in a minimum setup, which can go up to 5 to 10 lakhs a day కూడా సందర్భాలు ఉంటాయి పెద్ద పెద్ద సినిమాల్లో. So 5D comes with this one lens, which you know it's as simple as like you have a zoom, you have a wide and everything. You'll start make films about it. The whole దీని వల్ల ఏమైందంటే and also the boom of internet, the whole let's say the geo phenomena that has happened in our country, where India is one among those countries where we have the cheapest internet rates, right? So ఇది ఒక ఆస్పెక్ట్. తర్వాత లైక్ లిటిల్ బ్రేక్ త్రూస్ హియర్ అండ్ దేర్ సార్, లిటిల్ బ్రేక్ త్రూస్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఈ గేమ్ అంతా డిస్రప్ట్ చేసి బాగా చెప్పింది ఒక ఫిలిం నేను చేసింది ఏంటంటే పెళ్లి చూపులు. దట్ ఈస్ అ లిటిల్ డిస్రప్టర్ ఇన్ ఇట్స్ ఓన్ వే. That also suddenly kicked in new voices from Telangana writers. For example, Malaysian చేస్తున్నప్పుడు we bought in Peddinti Ashok Kumar garu, who is a very celebrated writer in his circles. His short stories have also been translated into English. ఇప్పుడు ఏమైంది అంటే మీరు తెలంగాణ భాషకి నవ్వుతున్నారు జనాల దగ్గర నుంచి, తెలంగాణని ఎంబ్రేస్ చేయడం స్టార్ట్ చేశారు. తెలంగాణ మెయిన్ స్ట్రీమ్ అయింది. తెలంగాణ న్యూస్ ఛానల్స్ కూడా బాగా వచ్చినాయి. ఇప్పుడు ఆ టైంలో నాకు బాగా గుర్తు V6 కానీ ఇట్లాంటి ఛానల్స్ మనకి దాంట్లో ఓన్లీ తెలంగాణలోనే వార్తలు చదివేటోళ్ళు. సో ద లాంగ్ మార్చ్ ఇలాంటి ఏంటంటే ఎవ్రీథింగ్, అంటే ఎవ్రీ క్వార్టర్ ద వేరియస్ క్వార్టర్స్ ఆఫ్ ద సొసైటీ స్టార్టెడ్ కాంట్రిబ్యూటింగ్ ఇన్ దిస్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ఇన్ పర్టిక్యులర్. అట్లా సినిమా ఒక భాగంగా మేము కూడా నేనేమైందంటే దట్ ఫస్ట్ పర్సన్ అడ్వాంటేజ్ నాకు దొరికింది కొంచెం. సో ఐ ఫ్రెష్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్ లైక్ యూనో అప్పుడే వీఆర్ ట్రయింగ్ అండ్ దెన్ తరుణ్ భాస్కర్ హ్యాపెన్స్, పెళ్లి చూపులు హ్యాపెన్స్, అట్లా అండ్ దెన్ సడన్లీ మల్లేశం హ్యాపెన్స్. అండ్ ఈ మధ్యలో ఎవ్రీబడి లైక్ లేదు నువ్వు ఇంకేం మాండలికంలో మాట్లాడదు, యూ ఓన్లీ స్పీక్ ఇన్ తెలంగాణ డైలెక్ట్ బికాస్ యూ ఆర్ టూ గుడ్ ఎట్ ఇట్. సో అట్లా ఏమైందంటే మీ అండ్ మెనీ అదర్ ఫెలో యాక్టర్స్ started cropping up from many places, and they started doing their own Telangana content. I remember looking at a lot of private albums coming from Karimnagar, Sirsilla, Adilabad, which had great number of views also. So at least our timeline ante the whole thing started slowly, and Maku, I remember that one day where me and Vijay, we were like Vijay Devarakonda, we were doing this, అరే టైం అంటే కౌశిక్ అంటే టైం, ఇట్లాంటి డైలాగ్ చేసుకుంటా, అరే ఇది విజయవాడలో చూస్తారా ఎవరైనా వాళ్ళు ఎట్లా రియాక్ట్ అవుతారా ఇట్లాంటి డైలాగులకు అని. we were like I don't know what, అంటే ఎట్లా చేయాలో మాకు అర్థం కాలేదన్నమాట. సో మిస్టర్ సురేష్ బాబు said, do one thing, let's do a litmus test, go to Vijayawada 2 days before the film releases and put it out there and let's see what happens. సో మేమందరం థియేటర్కి వెళ్ళాము. వీఆర్ ఆల్ వెయిటింగ్ ఎట్ ద డోర్ అండ్ దిస్ ఇస్ 300 odd crowd, random people. We just opened the doors and said, పెళ్లి చూపులు రిలీజింగ్, ఇంట్రెస్టెడ్ పీపుల్ వాక్ ఇన్. because we are nobody's almost like, and people didn't know Vijay much. They absolutely don't know me. Or Ritu Verma is famous for one short film. So like, please walk in, we'll give you Coke and popcorn. అవునరా నవ్వుతున్నారా, ఎట్లా నవ్వుతున్నారా. And so we were shocked, surprised, and also it was like some sort of validation. Most importantly, till then we were feeling like misfits. We were looked down, and suddenly we were accepted. The biggest challenge was that, sir, to being accepted and to coexist in an industry which is dominated with only one or two languages. So Adi, that is the greatest paradigm shift this industry has seen. And ఇక్కడ తెలంగాణలో ఇట్ వాజ్ రేజ్. అంటే ఇట్లా మేము శాంతి థియేటర్ పోతుంటే ఇట్ వాజ్ లైక్, ఐ రిమెంబర్ దట్ స్టిల్ దట్ డే ఆన్ ద రిలీజ్ డేట్, you open the doors in the balcony, suddenly a stream of air hits you. ఆ ఏసీ గాలి టప్పని ఇట్లా తగులుతుంది, కర్టన్లు ఇట్లా ఊగుతుంటాయి, మీరు లోపలికి వెళ్తారు. We opened the door, before the wind hit us, it was the laughter. It was magical, and it was like watching Sistine Chapel. So it was like that, so it was mental. అంటే అదొక తెలియని, చెప్పలేని ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ అది. అట్లా యాక్సెప్టెన్స్ మెల్లమెల్లగా ఒక్కొక్క ఫిలిం ద్వారా పెరగడం స్టార్ట్ అయింది. ఇప్పుడు ఇంకా ఇట్ ఈస్ లైక్, ఇప్పుడు ఇట్లా ఇక ఇట్స్ అన్స్టాపబుల్. నౌ వీఆర్ థరోలీ యాక్సెప్టెడ్ అక్రాస్, అండ్ బలగం కైండ్ ఆఫ్ unified that sentiment, and it kind of solidified that sentiment of families. ఎందుకు అంటే ఇప్పుడు కూడా నేను ఐ వాజ్ రీసెంట్ వెన్ వి వర్ షూటింగ్ ఇన్ తిరుపతి ఫర్ 35, వాడు బలగం హీరో వచ్చిండు అక్కడ. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ. సో నా పేరు తెలియకపోయినా పర్వాలేదు మీకు. సో ఇప్పుడు ఏంటంటే అట్లా అంత అతడు తర్వాత ఇట్లా బలగంని మనం ఎక్కువ చూసినాం స్టార్ మాలో. సో లైక్ దే కాల్ మీ లైక్ బలగం హీరో. అండ్ ఇంకా ఇప్పుడు ఏమనిపిస్తుంది అంటే, like I also remember this one time where we were shooting Amalapuram, and one random like nice, like it's like elderly, over 55-60-year-old man, proper అమలాపురంలో వాళ్ళు ఉండే మనుషులు, వాళ్ళు వచ్చి ఎట్లున్నారు సార్ అన్నాడు. అక్కడ ఎట్లా అనే పదం రాదు, ఎలా ఉన్నారండి నేను ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నా, ఎట్లున్నారు సార్ అన్నాడు. సో అండ్ ద మ్యాన్ వాజ్ పుట్టింగ్ ఆల్ ది ఎఫర్ట్స్ which are sounding very cute, to talk Telangana dialect. And I was like, అమ్మయ్య పర్లేదు, మనం చేసేదంతా ఇదేం కాదు. బట్ ఫినిషింగ్ ఆఫ్ ఎ క్వశ్చన్, ఇదేదో సోషల్ ఫిలిమ్స్ లాగా అట్లా చేయాలని ఏం లేదు బ్రో. అదొక ఇది పర్టికులర్గా పెట్టుకోను. డెఫినెట్లీ అంటే యూనివర్సిటీ నుంచి ఉన్న ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్సెస్ నా మీద ఉండుండొచ్చు, దట్ రెబల్ ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్సెస్ ఇవన్నీ. కానీ ఎండ్ ఆఫ్ ద డే నేను కూడా ఈ కథ నడుస్తుందా లేదా అనేది, ఐ ఆల్సో డూ అ లాట్ ఆఫ్ బ్రెయిన్ స్టార్మ్ ఇన్ అండ్ అరౌండ్. ఐ ఆల్సో see, and also the whole COVID also changed the entire scene for us. ఇప్పుడు ఏమైందంటే a lot of the trade experts or also people from media studies were predicting this COVID kind of a phenomena way before. అంటే లాంగ్ బ్యాక్, అంటే నేను చదువుకున్న రోజుల్లో ప్రొఫెసర్ ఉషారామన్ యూస్ టు టాక్ అబౌట్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దిస్. ఏదో ఒక రోజు వస్తుంది, ఇట్ ఆల్ బి, వీఆర్ ఆల్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ IPTV, లైక్ ద హోల్ ఇంటర్నెట్ విల్ టేక్ ఓవర్ ద ఎంటైర్ టీవీ అనేది వీఆర్ ఆల్ టాకింగ్. బట్ కోవిడ్ జస్ట్ యాక్సిలరేటెడ్ దాన్ని. ఒక్కసారి ఇంట్లో కూర్చోబెట్టేసరికి ఏమైంది, అందరూ యువర్ టఫ్ టైమ్స్ ఐ లుక్ ఫర్ ఆర్ట్, అంతే బేసికలీ. సో అట్లా అదేంది. అండ్ ఇప్పుడు ఏమైందంటే ఇండియన్ కాంటెక్స్ట్, ఇప్పుడు అమెరికన్ కాంటెక్స్ట్ చాలా డిఫరెంట్ ఉంది. అంటే ఐ రిమెంబర్ ఎస్పెషల్లీ జాతిరత్నాలు, వీ టుక్ ద ఫిల్మ్ టు, వీ వర్ ప్రమోటింగ్ ఇట్ ఇన్ బే ఏరియా. I remember this lady, she was a manager of some cinemas akkada. She came out, she's an American lady, I think some Elizabeth something ever peru unnadu atla. Avachi, thank you so much guys, because of your film we all had salaries this month. నేను so suddenly this whole యూనో అప్పుడు దాకా ఇట్స్ లైక్ ఒక్కసారి ఈస్ట్ ఇండియా మూమెంట్ గుర్తొస్తుంది. ఆగ చూసినావా మేము కూడా చేసినాం. సో సడన్లీ అంటే ఫన్నీ వే జోక్లు వేసుకుందాం కానీ అప్పుడు ఏమైందంటే ఇండియాలో కూడా అలాంటి సిచ్యువేషన్ ఉంటుంది. అంటే వాళ్ళు ఏంటంటే జనరల్లీ బయటికి రారు సినిమాలు చూడడానికి. బట్ తెలుగు వాళ్ళు ఏంటంటే ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ మచ్ ఇట్స్ బ్రెడ్ ఇన్ టు అవర్ సిస్టమ్. లైక్ ఇట్ ఈస్ లైక్ వెరీ కండిషన్ ఇన్ టు అవర్ సిస్టమ్ దట్ ఎంటర్టైన్మెంట్ అంటే సినిమా చూడాలి, ఎంటర్టైన్మెంట్ అంటే థియేటర్ చూడాలి. నా చిన్నప్పుడు రవీంద్ర భారతి పోవాలి, యూనో రవీంద్ర భారతిలో నాటకం చేయడం అంటే రవీంద్ర భారతిలో నాటకం చేస్తుంటే. సో ఇట్లాంటి అంటే సో ఏంటంటే ఇట్స్ వెరీ ఇన్గ్రెయిన్డ్ ఇన్ us, సినిమా పాలిటిక్స్ అండ్ కల్చర్. దే ఆర్ లైక్ ఇట్స్ లైక్ వీఆర్ సో ఇదంతా ఐ థింక్ నేను ఎటో పోయినట్టు నాకు కొంచెం మాట్లాడుకుంటాను. బట్ యా అదే అంతే.
బట్ హీరో అవుతా అని మీరు అనుకున్నారు? వాజ్ దాట్ యువర్ ఆబ్జెక్టివ్? యూ జస్ట్ వాంటెడ్ టు బి అన్ యాక్టర్? ఇంకొక క్వశ్చన్ అండి, ఇంకొకటి చెప్తాను.
Yeah, please.
ఐ వాచ్డ్ వన్ వీడియో, ఎక్కడో మీ గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నారు. మీరు ఆంధ్ర వెళ్ళినప్పుడు ఎవరో సంబడి షౌటెడ్ ఫ్రమ్ ద ఆడియన్స్ అంటే క్యారెక్టర్ స్టార్ అని. క్యారెక్టర్ లివింగ్ స్టార్.
అచ్చా, క్యారెక్టర్ లివింగ్ స్టార్. ఓకే ఓకే.
సో
అంటే వాళ్ళు ఏమనాలో తెలియక ఏదో అనేసారు.
కానీ నాకు అందులో ఒక నిజంగా అనిపించింది, వాట్ ఎవర్ క్యారెక్టర్స్ యూ ప్లే దే ఆర్ వెరీ రియలిస్టిక్. మనము వీ కెన్ ఐడెంటిఫై యాజ్ అన్ ఆడియన్స్, ఐ మీన్ యాజ్ అ వ్యూవర్, everybody can identify ourselves with your character that you are playing, your mannerisms, language, matlab. So in future, what do you want to be? A superstar, star, or you want to continue to be the character living star?
Sir, if I can tell with utter honesty, I'm not playing with any humble car or humility. If I can get to do stories like this or films which will entertain, from there whatever happens is nothing in my hand, because I never knew, I only dreamt that there will be an industry which will also, I remember this time when me and others and our peers, we were discussing about Balagam land cinema OTT lo chustarra, theater lo evaru chustadu. That become like I remember one writer called me and said like, ఇది సాంస్కృతిక సాంస్కృతిక విప్లవం సార్ ఇది బలగం అనేది, మీ సినిమా అనుకుంటారేమో. కరెక్ట్గా 10 రోజుల ముందు ఈ సినిమా కనీసం మామూలుగా ఓపెన్ అయితే బాగుండురా, ఒక 1 వీక్ దిల్ రాజు గారు దీన్ని థియేటర్లో పెడితే బాగుండు, ఈ అమెజాన్ వాడు కూడా ఒక 15 days తర్వాత రిలీజ్ చేస్తే బాగుండు అని. దీస్ వర్ ఆర్ వెరీ లైక్, అంటే దిస్ ఇస్ వాట్ వీ వర్ హోపింగ్ దిస్ ఫిల్మ్ విల్ డూ ఫర్ us. అండ్ కట్ చేస్తే సినిమాని పైరేట్ చేసి డౌన్లోడ్ చేసి ఊర్లలో వాళ్ళు తెరలు వేసుకొని సినిమాలు చూడడం మొదలుపెట్టారు. నేను అదే ఫ్రెండ్, మనం ఏమనుకున్నామో ఏమైతుంది, ఇదేడైంది, హూ డిడ్ దిస్ రా. ఐ యూస్ టు గెట్ దిస్ ర్యాండమ్ మెసేజ్ ఆన్ ఇన్స్టాగ్రామ్, అన్న మా ఊర్లో కూడా సినిమా వేయండి అన్న. అరే అది ఎవరు చేస్తున్నారో కూడా నాకు తెలియదు రావాలి. అండ్ సడన్లీ అమెజాన్ పీపుల్ ఆర్ లైక్, హౌ కెన్ దిస్ హ్యాపన్, దిస్ ఇస్ అగేన్స్ట్ ద పాలసీ, దిస్ ఇస్ సార్ మా చేతిలో లేదండి ఇది. సో నాకు I can't seriously predict what is going to happen in future, but I can currently say with great confidence that these are the days where content is working well, and people have the ultimate power to reject or embrace any content that they like. Back in day, remember sir, okosari let's say 15-20 years ago, when you walk into a film theater and you didn't like a film, you somewhat force yourself to sit and finish the film and then rant about it and come outside. These are not those days. You didn't like a film, you'll walk it in the first 15-20 minutes, because you'll still be entertained watching like reels constantly on your phone and still be entertained. Now or you would put some random vlog on YouTube and still be entertained, or you can sit down, watch some podcast by some Joe Rogan or some other guy and then still be entertained. So when you have fragmented audiences and such a widespread media network, if I can't cater for a film where my biggest challenge is people not opening their cell phones. అంటే నా సినిమా చూసుకుంటే వాడు ఫోన్ ఓపెన్ చేసినట్టే కథం నా సినిమా పోయినట్టే. సో నో దట్ ఇస్ ద బిగ్గెస్ట్ ఛాలెంజ్ ఫర్ మీ. లైక్ ఇప్పుడు అది టీవీకి రిమోట్ వచ్చినట్టు ఇప్పుడు ఫోన్ వచ్చింది నాకు జేబులో. ఇప్పుడు వీడు ఎప్పుడు లైక్ ఐ హ్యావ్ సీన్ విత్ మై ఓన్ ఐస్ ఇన్ ఎ థియేటర్ వేర్ పీపుల్ కేమ్ టు వాచ్ ద ఫిలిమ్స్ అండ్ జస్ట్ బికాస్ their partner or somebody is interested to watch that film, the other disinterested partner would plug in his headphones and watch Jabardast. I've seen this happen and I was like, wow. So like we are in a very very దీనికి తోడు we are battling the attention retention span, whatever that is, the whole syndrome that we are talking about. So వీటన్నిటి మధ్యలో asking my audience to sit in a theater for 2.5 hours is a Herculean task. Like asking their time, asking for them to trust me, even though I'm not a bigger star who can, have a huge pull into theaters. So for me, I can't fail. I can't do average films. They won't come. They won't show up at the theaters. So I have to do films which will basically win at the theaters and also win at the OTT. Because when we have free time and you have all the internet for yourself, you will only watch after high recommendations, great stars in IMDb and heavy recommendations ఆ తర్వాత మనం చూస్తాం. సో అప్పుడు దాకా మనం చూడం. సో ఇట్లాంటి వరల్డ్లో యూఆర్ బ్యాట్లింగ్. then you have to do films like Court or Balagam or yeah.
నాకు ఇంకొకటి చాలా ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ అనిపించింది. మీరు తరుణ్ భాస్కర్ గారు చాలా క్లోజ్. బట్ కామెడీ ఎట్లా రాస్తారు అని
he's got that knack and he's got that talent and he knows how to like for example there's a scene in Kida Kola, if you remember, all they is to talk broken English. But that man has a knack to crack simple things more beautifully. పెద్ద నా సాంగ్ చేస్తానని పెద్ద విషయం కాదు అది. ఇట్స్ జస్ట్ చాలా సింపుల్ విషయాలు అవన్నీ. అంటే ఐ రిమెంబర్ దట్ వన్, నాకు ద మోస్ట్ పవర్ఫుల్ డైలాగ్ ఇన్ ద ఫిల్మ్ ఇస్ లైక్, నువ్వు బ్రేకప్ చేసినందుకు కోపం రాలేదు, నువ్వు సరిగ్గా బ్రేకప్ చేయనందుకు కోపం వచ్చింది. అంటే ఇట్ ఎంఫసైజెస్ హౌ ఉమెన్ వాంట్ టు బి a woman, and how women want a closure and how a man wants to have a closure. The man, stupid fellow, ran off, but this woman wanted a closure properly. Like, so ivanni endante these are very complex subjects. There's a whole dan meeda oka therapy session nadipiyochu basically. vaadu dan oka dialogue la rasindu vaadu. సో నేను ఇందాక కూడా మీరు నా సౌండ్ ఏం చేస్తా అంటే దాని వెనకాల ఇంత పెంట్ ఉంది బేసికలీ. లైక్ ఇయర్స్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ పోకింగ్, లైక్ డూ సంథింగ్ వర్త్ వైల్, డూ ఇంజనీరింగ్, ఇంత ఉంది దాని వెనకాల. సో అందుకనే రాహుల్ రైట్స్ పరంపరలు తలబడ్డాయి, పరిగెట్టండు. సో ఇవన్నీ ఏంటంటే ఇవన్నీ తెలియకుండా దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ సైలెంట్ రెబల్స్ విచ్ సమ్వేర్. సో ఇవన్నీ ఏంటంటే తరుణ్ హ్యాస్ a knack to write such things and he has trained himself so harder to write simple things more beautifully. So complex stories చెప్పడం ఒకసారి ఈజీ, ఒకసారి కష్టం కాకపోవచ్చు, కానీ సింపుల్ థింగ్స్ ని బ్యూటిఫుల్ చెప్పడానికి చాలా కష్టపడాల్సి వస్తుంది. ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ టేక్ అ మలయాళం ఫిల్మ్, లెట్స్ సే సంథింగ్ లైక్ డ్రైవింగ్ లైసెన్స్ అనుకుందాం ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. ఎనీబడి ఇఫ్ యూ వాచ్డ్ లెట్స్ సే ఆర్ ఉస్తాద్ హోటల్ ఆర్ టేక్ ఎనీ పాపులర్ మలయాళం ఫిల్మ్స్, their greatest skill comes by telling simple stories. ఏమైందిరా అంటే, వాడు ఒక స్టార్ ఉంటాడు, ఒక పోలీస్ ఆఫీసర్ ఉంటాడు, సినిమా ఏందిరా అంటే వాడికి ఆటోగ్రాఫ్ అడిగి తీయలేదు, అందుకని స్టార్ మీద రివెంజ్ తీసుకుంటాడు. ఇది స్టోరీ. ఎవడని చెప్తాడు ఆ మంత్రి, ఇది ఎవడు తీయడు పో. సో ఇదే అంటున్నా. ఇప్పుడు బలగం ఉందనుకోండి, ఇప్పుడు బలగం ఏంటంటే, బలగం కూడా మీరు స్టోరీ ఏంటంటే ఒక ఫ్యామిలీ ఉంటుంది, తాత చచ్చిపోతాడు, తాత చచ్చిపోయిన తర్వాత ఏమవుతుంది అంతే. ఇప్పుడు ఇదేంద్ర ఇంకా స్టోరీ చెప్పరా అంటారు కొంతమంది. ఇదే నా స్టోరీ. సో ఇప్పుడు ఏంటంటే దాంట్లో ఆ సీన్లు రాయాలి, స్క్రీన్ ప్లే, ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దిస్. సో తరుణ్ వెన్ హీ సిట్స్ డౌన్ టు రైట్, he will when he narrated కీడకోల, ఏముందిరా దీంట్లో, బాటిల్ పురుగు వస్తుంది, ఆ తర్వాత ఏమవుతుంది, అంతేరా స్టోరీ, అదే రాస్తా చెప్తా. సరేరా, ఓకే రైట్. అండ్ దెన్ ఐ సిట్ అండ్ రీడ్ దిస్ ఫస్ట్ డ్రాఫ్ట్, లైక్ ఏం రాసినవరా ఎంత. ఇప్పుడు కూడా ఐ ఫీల్ దట్ కార్టేక్ యా And also see, it is not just the dialogue, but how he's performing that. Also sitting in that little truck, he talks about how fear is instilled at a very early age, and the whole దాంట్లో చాలా మాట్లాడుకోవచ్చు కూర్చొని. You can talk about the consumerism, you can talk about the many things you can talk, but that man writes all these complex narrative structures into simple terms anamata. That I feel is a greatest challenge, and this man has mastered, and he rightfully deserves all the national award for that.
So
ఇప్పుడు
I have
అవార్డ్స్ గురించి మాట్లాడేది, తెలంగాణ గవర్నమెంట్ గద్దర్ అవార్డ్స్ స్టార్ట్ చేస్తుంది కదా. డూ యూ థింక్ ఇట్ విల్ క్రియేట్ సమ్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్రిక్షన్ ఇన్ ద ఇండస్ట్రీ? బికాస్ సో ఫార్ మనం నంది అవార్డ్స్ అవి గురించి మాట్లాడేది.
ఏమో సార్, అంటే నాకు అంత అవగాహన లేదు ఆ విషయం పట్ల. బట్ సార్, ప్రతి ఆర్టిస్ట్ అస్తిత్వంగా ఎట్లా కోరుకుంటాడో వ్యాలిడేషన్ కూడా అంతే కోరుకుంటాడు సార్ వాడు. సో if let's say the government of Telangana wants to felicitate Balagam for its work and call it Gaddar Award, I don't mind, sir, really. And సార్, మేము చిన్న అవార్డులు కూడా తీసుకుంటాం సార్ మేము. సో అంత పెద్ద అవార్డు ఇస్తున్నంటే కూడా ఈ సుమంత ఏమంటారు, సిగ్గు లేకుండా పోయి తీసుకోవడం, ఐ డోంట్ నో. అంటే ఇట్లా అనకూడదేమో నాకు తెలియదు, కానీ చెప్తున్నా సార్. అంటే నేను ఏమంటున్నా అంటే వి ఆల్ సీక్ సమ్ సార్ట్ ఆఫ్ వ్యాలిడేషన్. ఇప్పుడు నంది ఉందా లేదా, పోయిందా, వస్తుందా రాదా అనేది అది కదా ఓల్డ్ డిస్కషన్ అయిపోయింది సార్. అంటే అంత పాకులాట లేదు. ఇప్పుడు ఏంటంటే మోస్ట్ ఇంపార్టెంట్లీ ఇండస్ట్రీ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో ప్లేస్ వేర్ పీపుల్ వాంట్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ కోవిడ్ టైంలో ఎవ్రీబడి వేర్ సఫరింగ్ వితౌట్ హ్యావింగ్ లెట్స్ ఏ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఎంప్లాయీ can sit down somewhere and the world changed, world shifted into work from home. We can't do that. And so appudu we wanted support, and the government then gave some support to all of these people. Appudu Talasani Srinivas Yadav garu chesaru panlanni, ఆయన అంటే కనీసం బియ్యం ఇచ్చారు, ఏదో చేసేవాళ్ళు. సో అట్లనే అవార్డు ఇస్తారంటే కూడా తీసుకున్నాను. బట్
సో ఐ హ్యావ్ అ క్వశ్చన్, అండ్ ఇట్ ఇస్ లైక్, ఇప్పుడు మీరు ఇందాక చెప్పినట్టు ఒక మూవీ టు ఒక మూవీ 4 years టైం పట్టింది, అండ్ లైక్ మల్లేశం నుంచి బలగంకి, అండ్ దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ యూ హ్యావ్ మెన్షన్. సో అండ్ యోర్ niche has been like comedy naturally comes for you, like
I hope so, yeah. Thank you, but yeah, please.
So how do you manage to stay relevant with the Telugu audience by doing these realistic movies or social issues?
By keeping the audience alive in me. But I always ask myself when I'm reading the script, when if it is made, will I again go watch it? It's not that I'm feeling proud or not proud, or like, will this make money or all of this. 10 years ago, pick up any film that you like, take any name in the film, like, let's do a small test, like, take any film that you guys liked 10 years ago, 5 years ago, any film that you like. Atadu, what is the box office collection of the film? Take any other film. Let's say Rang De Basanti. How much money did it make? But do you remember the impact that film created? J Beam, how much money did it collect? It happened 3 years ago. How much money did it really collect? Nobody gives a damn. Always they feel like, let's say, people only talk about the impact that it has created, right? So my part essentially, so I kind of navigate from this little challenges about, of course, because there's also I have to understand how the trade works constantly, and how the trends in global cinema are changing. If you look at the current Oscar-winning films, Anora is a film which is a complete indie production. It's not backed by any studios per se, but later it got its due. Also, the current films that are popular here in India also. Even currently, all of these films, let's say something like 12th Fail, pass out. 12th Fail. So, sorry. So suddenly there's a rise of such contents that are happening, where people are talking about stories from the hinterlands of the Indian subcontinent. And also there's something like a phenomena like Pushpa 2. ఇవన్నీ ఏంటంటే they're also అంటే you I keep also drawing some inspirations from, let's say, Nani, because if, let's say, if he wants to do a violent film, he will do something like Saripoda Shenivaram. It has a refreshing take on the whole idea of, mass masala and all of that. So I keep reading news. So yeah, the many things, that is the greatest fear for any artist, if to stay relevant, to stay relevant. So I try keeping my ear to the ground. Like, for example, when we're doing a film like Ombim Bush, we brought in a lot of memes as jokes.
Yeah.
So we keep update ourselves with the current day memes. Like, I was doing this film like Sarangapani Jatakam, where we have used an entire dialogue on Jolly Joseph and Lakshmi Aunty. Lakshmi Aunty is that lady who runs a small kitchen near ITC Kohinoor. She was suddenly popular. And Jolly Joseph, obviously, she's that cold-blooded killer from Kerala. So we try to make a dialogue out of those two people. So ఇవన్నీ చాలా చేస్తాం మేడం. అంటే తెలుగు ఒక్కోసారి, తెలుగు కూడా ఒక్కోసారి, అండ్ ఒక్కోసారి ఇట్స్ ద రైటర్స్ ఆర్ మోర్ రిలవెంట్. ఐ మీన్ మోర్ దే డూ ద హార్డ్ వర్క్ అండ్ we just walk in, take the check and then do the work and go. అట్లా కూడా
వెరీ క్రియేటివ్ ప్రాసెస్. లైక్ సర్ప్రైజెస్. ఇక్కడ మాకు ఒక హెడ్లైన్ ఇవ్వడానికి క్రియేటివ్ హెడ్లైన్ ఇవ్వాలంటే క్యాన్సర్ ఆలోచించాలి. బట్ దిస్ క్రియేటివ్ ప్రాసెస్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్ ద ఆర్డినరీగా కనిపిస్తుంది, బట్ ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఆర్డినరీ. లైక్ ప్రాసెస్ ఎట్లా నడుస్తుంది అంటే విత్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ డిస్కషన్.
అంతే సార్, నెత్తిల్ బాధ కూడా కూర్చొని ఇట్స్ లైక్ దట్ బ్రెయిన్ స్టార్మింగ్ హ్యాపెన్స్. అంటే ఇట్స్ ద సేమ్ థింగ్ సార్. ఐ మీన్ సమ్టైమ్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ లైక్, లెట్స్ సే I was again like, I call Jagdish as an extended journalist because that man did all this research. He went and met people, talked to them, collected the stories, compiled it. The only to say truth by creating fictionalized events. So the creativity is there. The famous documentary filmmaker Michael Moore, he says that bringing the truth as is by being a journalist, and also bringing the truth as being a fiction writer. Also as a character, I want to play these characters because somewhere you have that wanted to give out that voice.
సో వన్ మోర్ థింగ్ ఇస్ దట్ ఇప్పుడు మీరు చేసిన క్యారెక్టర్స్ అన్ని కూడా లైక్ రియలిస్టిక్ అండ్ సోషల్ ఇష్యూస్ అని మాట్లాడుతూ వచ్చాం. సో యాజ్ అన్ యాక్టర్ ఎమోషనలీ హౌ డు యూ మేక్ దట్ స్విచ్ ఫ్రమ్ వన్ మూవీ టు అదర్, ఆర్ ప్యారలల్ గా యూ ఆల్సో డూ దీస్ సెటారికల్ రోల్స్ ఆర్ కామిక్ రోల్స్ లైక్ యూ సెడ్ సేవ్ ద టైగర్స్ అండ్ ఇవన్నీ. సో హౌ డు యూ మేక్ దట్ స్విచ్, ఆర్ like how do you manage that emotionally?
Once they credit the amount, అది automatic అయిపోతుంది. So it's like it happens, credited. Okay, Ganta Ravi, come in. Credited. Oh, Surya Teja, walk in. And then the little things would be like, you go in to talk to that writer, director, or you go into that film set. You walk into that caravan, put on those clothes, do the makeup, hair, and all of that. It and use a certain perfume for that particular shoot. I keep sometimes changing perfumes for each set, so the smell also kind of tries to create some sort of like as a recall value back into that character. Like for example, I'm using this for another shoot, I will take it off for another shoot. So this is like an exercise for me. Adi, and it is not easy. For example, I remember when I was doing Balagam, the first day I was giving 52 takes, 62 takes, and the director says like, let's not do this at all. Like, so we'll again come on the other day, the same place, and we again redo it. And now he says like, ఇప్పుడు వచ్చిన a character like this is what Sailu is all about. Or same happens with male. The first day is very tough. So you shoot it for another 1 week or 10 days, you form certain memory about that fellow, that particular character. And you go revisit the same memories again and again. Or go back, watch the rush from the previous day of the shoot. and most importantly, delete Instagram on phone.
Then how do you make the switch to your normal life? Like, how do you come back to Priyadarshi from
I
your
am
character?
only awaiting to go back to my normal life, because cinema is a part of my life. I'm still wanting to go back to Cafe Triple Y and have that halim because I came this far. So I'm waiting to go back to my life. I love driving, so I travel with my car, and then I read sometimes, and watch films కొంచెం తక్కువే. Like I don't watch much films actually. Um, I watch a lot of traveling vlogs. They're guilty pleasure basically. uh, mm, I am trying to uh, trying my hand at fixing cars now. I just I don't know. It's an absolute కొత్తగా ఊరికే ఇట్లా పెట్టుకునేది ఒకటి చేద్దామని. Non-creative pursuits I'll try, sir. There's nothing like a hobby as sorts. Yeah, I think not many boring.
But you said you love traveling, right? So, which is one of the special places that you've been to, and why do you like that place?
Hmm?
Apart from HCU and the New Indian Express, yes.
Ante, see, I'm always debating between mountains and sea.
Okay.
So either I'm going at places where are mountains. Like I went to recently. I went to Yosemite National Park, California, because it has like this amazing, the whole spread of mountains is there and all of that. And I wanted to drive a little Tesla. So like, okay, chalo, mountains in a car. So it's like that. And then I was in Yosemite, I was thinking of beach. I came to India, I went to Goa. So, and then I got so bored of traveling. So I came back home. I went to Chandanagar. Ate the Pani Puri. I was like, ha, sarve ikkade unna kodhi rojulu. Like, so, I become this lalchi fellow when it comes to when I get a little gap and all of that. I do that. So it is between the mountains and the sea. Um, beach mein I was thinking I'll go to Meghalaya for some time, because I wanted to do a complete 20-day travel from Meghalaya to Pasighat, like into Arunachal Pradesh, because I've never seen anything from Northeast. I want to travel this year extensively Northeast. So I keep these like it's like little candy that child wants, for the lunch or for the end of the day. ఇంటికి వెళ్ళగానే ఫ్రిడ్జ్ లో చాక్లెట్ తింటా. ఇట్స్ లైక్ షూటింగ్ అయిపోగానే నేను బుక్ చేసుకుని వెళ్తా. సో that is the kind of things I do. Yeah, I think all the savings go there only.
You're wearing a nice t-shirt. Hope never dies. Believe in miracles.
Yeah, this is
Is
the
there any
only shirt
miracle?
which was washed and not crushed.
But still, I wanted to ask: is there any miracle that happened in your life?
Many miracles. The fact that I've become an actor. Miracle కాదు కానీ హార్డ్ వర్క్. యా, ఏమో కొంచెం కష్టమే ఇది చెప్పడం. మిరకల్స్ నేను జోకేస్తే నవ్వుతున్నారు. That's a miracle. So that's a miracle maybe. Yeah, but I think film itself is a miracle. I don't know. Maybe for example, let's call Pelli Chupulu a miracle, or Balagam a miracle, and the very fact that cinema helps me to connect to a lot of humanity and brings the better of humans sometimes. That also feels like a hope. There is hope. Yeah. So yeah, then దానికి తగ్గట్టు యూనిట్లు కూడా తీసుకుంటాను. హోప్ అనగా నాకు కలికి గుర్తొచ్చింది.
You want to do a period film? That is the rage.
Yes, I would want to do a periodical. Let's say I want to do something on చాలా ఉన్నాయి ఐడియాస్, కానీ we're trying to get in చాకలి ఐలమ్మ స్టోరీ టు స్క్రీన్ ఇన్ అ డిఫరెంట్ వే పాసిబుల్. ట్రై చేస్తాం, అట్లాంటి ఐడియాస్ ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయి కొన్ని 2-3 చూద్దాం. ఇట్స్ లైక్ అ ఫార్ ఫెచ్డ్ అంబిషియస్.
If Darshi was not an actor, what would he be, or what career would
It
you
would have been a filmmaker and slowly ended up being an actor.
To come back to acting again.
Like he would have been somebody like Gautam Vasudev Menon. He'll start doing films and slowly become an actor. Or become a Tarun Bhaskar. Like. Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank you,
coming
sir.
in.
Thank you so
I
much.
hope
for
that we enjoyed it quite a lot. I hope that you also enjoyed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you.
We should thank you for the time.
Yeah. Please watch on 14th.